review of Uplead, and you're looking at the screen once you log in. I'm going to dive right into it. One thing that was incredibly frustrating is, like many tools that have free trials, in order to access the free trial, you have to input your billing information and your credit card information, and I did that for you guys, so you don't have to. But fundamentally, Uplead is just like any other B2B contact info database, lead source, lead info database. And when you think about tools like these, there's really only two parameters to fundamentally judge them on. Number one, is the data inside of it accurate? And number two, how well can it enrich the existing information or data that I already have? So for example, if I have emails, will it give me their names? If I have names, will it give me their emails? If I have both name and email, does it give me company? Vice versa. That's what I wanted to investigate, and I have a few thoughts. But before I dive right into it, I'm going to do a quick product overview. So up here, you see how many credits you have with different tiered pricing. You'll be able to search for a fixed number of credits or just contacts on the free trial. So I have had 5, searched for a few, and this is what I'm left with. Left hand side, you have your homepage. You have your contact search, so this is where the bulk of the searching is going to happen. You have company search, so if you want to start searching via company, you can go to that panel, and then lists, as you find different contacts, you can add them to custom lists you create. And then looking up, if you want to find just one person in particular that you're trying to contact, this is a way to do that, just like Hunter. Verification, if you have a list of emails or email data you've sourced or bought from somewhere else, you can quickly validate whether or not they're accurate. And then enrichment, you have 4 different permutations of, as I mentioned earlier, validating the data that you have, right? So if you have contact list, are you able to, or how do I get the email? How do I get their phone numbers? How do they get their socials? Same goes with companies, emails, company name to URL. You have a couple of different options to enrich the data that you do have. One caveat here, you have to, I believe, upload all these as a CSV, and I think you can add up to 50 different fields. But yeah, you can't just do these for just 1 or 2 isolated, or maybe you can, but you just have to upload it in the form of a spreadsheet. News section, I don't really get why this is here. I think a lot of CRMs, a lot of sales tools have this extraneous news feature where I guess theoretically their premise is, hey, you can add all the companies you're interested in and keep track of any updates coming to their industries or their companies, and add some personalization as you reach out to your contacts, your accounts. Typically, in my experience, I find that most people don't really care. They don't pay attention. If there is news, it's not always accurate or outdated. And if you are really keen about an account or a specific industry, you're doing research on your own. So it's just an additional bell or whistle. It doesn't hurt to be there, but I don't really find it very useful. Events, again, I don't really understand why this is here either. I see a bunch of random events. I see a foot and body massage in Singapore. Not necessarily sure what the point of this is. I'm wondering if this is, something you can invite customers out to, or maybe customers are putting on events that you're interested in, and that could be a point of conversation. Just, again, another bell and whistle, just like this last page here, which is resources. So different ebooks, which again, I don't know why they have here, but the core of it is kind of the first 6 or 7 panels. I would go ahead and ignore the last couple of ones. Let's do a quick contact search. So let's say you're building out an outbound campaign. You want to do, cast a wide net, maybe bring in some prospects based on different ICP parameters that you've already outlined for yourself. For example's sake, let's say I'm looking for someone in, let's say, finance. Let's say job title, I want them to be a managing director, location, I'm going to say United States, and I hit enter to enter the country, but it looks like it's already searching, and we're going to filter this down even more. So United States, I'm going to say, let's say Omaha, Nebraska, actually. Omaha, Nebraska. And revenue, you can filter by the size of the company. SMBs, mid-market, larger enterprises. Let's do smaller companies for now. Because we picked a smaller revenue company, I'm going to anticipate it has maybe a modest amount of employees. And then by type, public, private, subsidiary, let's say private, fortune ranking. This is interesting. I guess it cross indexes are against the Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 companies. Let's say Fortune 1000. I wonder how many, if I'm being too narrow with the search. You can even add company URL, technologies, if they use any of the following technologies. What sort of technologies? Blockchain. Interesting. I really wonder how accurate this information is, but I'm going to leave that out because I think I'm already being too restrictive in my searches. One thing I do like is the exclusions. So obviously you just don't want to be not only be inclusive of your search, but there's probably, sometimes misleading or misnomers or, search parameters that can mean two different things. If you ever want to filter them out, add it in as an exclusion. So you can do that. But based on this, let's see if this refreshes. Yeah, it looks like I was way too restrictive. I'm gonna take the location out and let's see if we scope out. All right, interesting. Industry, finance, managing director. Are these companies too small? I guess you're maybe not have a managing director for a company less than $1 million. I think that's what it could be. And we have one for someone who is a managing director at Berkeley Custom Insurance. I am going to click into them. I'm not going to unlock their email for the sake of privacy, but you have their name, their employer, where they're based out of, company, and some facts about their company as a whole. And then again, you have the ability to either unlock their email or add them to a list you already have. And you can also download this information as well. So with that said, this is again for illustrative purposes. I tried this process, I guess, search for individual contacts for 3 different cases: myself, my friend, and my dad. And let me report back on what I found. Again, I'm not going to share that publicly just for the sake of privacy. But for myself, I tried. It had my previous employers, my history, work experience, all pulled up. It's getting it from LinkedIn, nothing crazy. But the email that it did provide was not accurate. So out of one, it did not, the first one I searched was not accurate. The second one I searched was my friend who works at a very large technology company. It was able to find his email pretty accurately. What I will caveat that, however, is that their email format is first initial, last name at thecompanydomain.com. Obviously, that doesn't mean it's always going to be valid, but in this case, that did end up being the right contact information. Number 3 is my dad. And my dad's someone who's been in the workforce for the past, 20, 30 years. He's still working. He's worked across multiple industries, multiple companies, and it didn't even find him as an individual within the database. So that was a little bit disappointing as well. I want to say out of the 3 folks that I did search for, only one was accurate in terms of just producing contact information. So I will say that is a little bit disappointing. I will also caveat this with giving them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. 3 is not a huge sample size, but from the 3 that I did search, was not particularly encouraged by the results. So with that said, when I think about tools like Uplead, I'm sure you're probably thinking about them in comparison to Apollo or ZoomInfo or Hunter or the many various other solutions out there. And if you think about what is the differentiating factor for these guys versus anybody else, I think from an end user perspective, like you and I may be using, it's just a matter of accuracy. And, I did some digging and looked at Uplead's own YouTube channel, and they talk about here about how they compare to ZoomInfo, and their claim is
where Uplead differs on product versus other databases is that they prioritize data accuracy and quality of leads.
yeah, so their, again, quote unquote, unique value proposition is they prioritize data accuracy and quality of leads. And what that tells me is that, hey, there is no differentiation between these guys and anybody else. Every single B2B content provider will make the claim that they are the most accurate in the industry. Otherwise, I don't know what they're doing. In our case, from the small sample that we did test, this was not the case. So I think ultimately it boils down to pricing and just, I guess, comparative accuracy versus other platforms as well. In terms of pricing, three pricing or four pricing tiers starts at a free trial, which gives you 5 credits. I will say that is a very stingy free trial. I think other alternatives I've seen are more generous in terms of how many initial searches you can do on the free plan. And this is time capped as well, right? You only have the free trial for about a week. So again, I think I've seen longer, if not unlimited, for other alternatives as well. Then you have higher in terms of, essentials plus and obviously a custom tier for larger enterprises. Um, when I think about this in comparison to other folks like Apollo, Apollo is cheaper. I see again unlimited email or yeah, unlimited email credits, 10,000 per month. Again, the free tier is more generous. The paid tiers are cheaper as well. I know most folks use Apollo as kind of their de facto or their go-to. Oh, or I will say this is the annual billing, but still not too much more expensive. Cheaper than Uplead, more generous with what they uh, provide in each one of these tiers. I don't really see any distinction in terms of what Uplead has to offer versus any other alternatives. And I want to caveat I'm not affiliated or sponsored by Apollo, but this was just the first name that came to mind when I thought about comparison. So for your use case, where I think Uplead could be a good fit is if you don't know who to email, who to contact, you just want to do some general outbound with some high level parameters on industry, company size, job title, etc. You can scrape those and see how accurate that contact information is. In my case, wasn't the most accurate in the small sample size that I did see, but just given the price and just given the the stinginess of the pricing tiers, I'm struggling to see how to justify this price, why it's better than any other alternatives, and where it really does stand out. Obviously, this is just for my use case. Maybe Uplead does have higher quality data, higher quality or higher, more accurate information for certain verticals, certain niches, certain industries. So try it out for your own use case and let me know if it's more accurate. But that is my review of Uplead today. Things could change as the product evolves, and I'll come back and make an update. But that's my cursory overview. If you're interested in Uplead or any other alternatives, visit salepier.com, SALEPIER.com, where you can check out the newest and coolest sales tools coming out. But in either case, hope this helps. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks.